Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we have. If you're hearing the crackling of my cat eating, a little TT here, going to town on her kibble. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Now, I want to kind of start up here where it's a little less visible because it's a little darker. But we have this kind of incomplete kind of wreath or just a flower, decorative flower looking symbol. And for me, this looks very much, it speaks to me in such a way that says that there are kind of secrets. I relate it's widely related. The rose is a symbol of secrets, of mysteries, of kind of earned information, if you will. And so I see this taking place in this metaphysical zone for you, metaphysical, spiritual dreams, messaging from otherworldly beings, or like a guardian angel, ancestors, people who have passed, this kind of thing. That's on the rim. That's usually where I'll see things that are kind of related to these types of energies. So I think that this whole story that's going to unfold here, in this reading, it kind of started in what I perceive to be the dream world, the unconscious kind of pushing up images, patterns, maybe words here and there, things that kind of were coming up in your mind in either meditation, intentional vision work, or in your dream realms, okay? And I think that I get the feeling, I'm seeing quite a few, they almost look like little axes or arrows, knives, throughout this whole kind of narrative. So I'm thinking that these have been kind of troubled dreams. These have been bad dreams. This has kind of been kind of abrupt and almost damaging feeling. I feel that these dreams have been so involved, so heavy. It's like being in a real thick air, you know, in like a really humid air or a smoky air, where it's hard to breathe. I feel that it's almost like a night terror, okay? I mean, it's just overwhelming. And when you wake up, I feel like the impressions, the feelings, the emotions are carried over with you throughout the day. So you're kind of living in this in-between state, and it has not, I don't think that it's been very agreeable. I think it's been difficult and emotionally draining, okay? I think that it feels like you've been really looking for some answers, okay? You have been looking for patterns, you've been looking for messages, advice, maybe mentorship, somebody to help you find some clarity. And with this formation here, I'm seeing kind of a person in a robe or a dress, and it seems that they have their arms extended out and they're holding something, almost like they're offering you something. I think that this is somebody who you've gone to before for advice. I feel like this is somebody who is friendly. You feel safe and open and able to be somewhat vulnerable with them, honest. And I kind of almost, and this is like kind of random, but I almost get this impression that they have some background in like dance, or they have some kind of interest in dancing, something around the movement of the body and dance and this kind of thing. So something to do with that. That might help you identify who I'm talking about a little more. And I think that through this process of talking with this person, who I also, let me say, I think has known you for a long time. I almost wonder if this is an older person who is like a family friend. Somebody who has a little insight into your life over a long period of time. And the people that have been involved in your life, okay? This could be like an aunt, maybe, or a grandmother or something. I don't think it's like directly your mother, necessarily, but I think somebody adjacent to your core family unit. Now, this one feels a little more difficult as we're getting into it. I feel the anxiety kind of building a little. Okay, so I'm seeing that we have this, it looks like a scorpion, okay, and you can see the tail, okay. I see this kind of animal. It almost looks like a little dog or something like that. Like it's come upon the scorpion. And for me, this represents somebody that you have been loyal to, somebody that you have trusted, somebody who means a lot to you in your life, okay? And recently, because of these feelings you've been having, these things that have been coming up in dreams that you've been thinking about, it seems very murky. But I think that this is like some difficult stuff that's coming up. And I think through your conversations with this person, this family friend, or whomever it is, this person that you feel you can confide in, I think that you're coming to understand that somebody else who you are even more close to, and I think that this could be a family member, it could be, you know, I don't know, somebody, I'm not sure, maybe a sibling, a parent, or aunt, uncle, I don't know, somebody you are close to, very, very, have been close to, grew up with. I feel that you're finding out things about them that you had no idea about, okay? I feel like they have been kind of in a way, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but not exactly that. I think that it's like with the scorpion, like you knew that they're probably stern. They're probably a little emotionally unavailable. They have a hard exterior to some degree, but you've always respected them and trusted them. But what you're finding out is what I think is maybe like some kind of lying happening. Something that feels like poisonous, right? Something that really stings. And I think that it feels kind of devastating, I think. And almost to a point where you don't really want to believe it, okay? Because you have been so close and so loyal to them. And I'm just seeing this face up here. It just looks terrible. Like just a terrible, like, you know, kind of like the opposite of Scooby-Doo when they pull the mask off and it's just a normal person. It's like it's just a normal person and you pull their normal person mask back and they're just horrific, like a monster. Their behavior is unacceptable. Whatever it is that has happened, whatever you're starting to find out about, I feel like it's causing, or it has caused a deep fracture, okay? I also see this really mimicked right here. I see the small person, okay, kind of being, it almost looks like grabbed or held while they're trying to kind of run off by this thing that looks kind of like a devil. I mean, with the horns and the body, and it kind of verifies to me that I think that this is somebody in your family who is probably at least a generation older than you, maybe like an older sibling it could be. But whatever is coming to light, I just feel like it has really, really cast them in this, this terrible light. And I feel that, it's not, at least for now, it's not the same for you, the way that you feel about them. I also feel that you really don't want to believe what's going on. You don't want to hear about it, but you kind of, it's kind of like the cat's already out of the bag. And here's my cat as I say that. Hello, Pudgy. He has his hand right on the card here. He's pointing. He says, I need to show you what the card is. And so this is the Ten of Swords from the Thoth deck, and this is this is one of those tough cards, right? The card of ruin. And I think that usually with these cards, I would say, the Death card, the Hanged Man, even the Tower card, any of the more difficult cards, it's like, okay, well, this is, at least it's an ending, right? And with the Ten of Swords, it's kind of an ending. And that's good because then we can already start to look forward to a new beginning, to the new cycle, to the new thing. Unfortunately, in this situation, it is an ending that is coming. There is some kind of ending, but I think it's only the beginning of a cycle of things coming to light. And I think that there are going to be some difficult stuff coming up. I don't know exactly what it is, but even as I'm saying it, it feels so heavy on my chest that I think it's like, I just feel like the breath has been knocked out of you. I feel that you feel very shaken. I think with the fact that you've been having, you know, dreams and kind of, you know, things that were kind of foreshadowing, I believe that it's probably one of two things, that maybe this is something that, maybe this is something that has been somewhat understood within your family, or kind of, you know, brushed under the rug a bit, but there have been little tidbits throughout your life. Maybe you never picked up on it completely. Which, listen, this happens in a lot of families with all kinds of stuff. Things that seem super silly to be hiding to things that are really problematic, right? It can span the spectrum. And just growing up around all of the things that families do hide, you know, you kind of passively pick up the little pieces and fragments of what's going on without really knowing, right? The second scenario is really just that, you know, you have been affected deeply by whatever has gone on, and it's something that's been maybe too difficult to face, which is another thing that happens. I mean, especially if you're young when these things are happening, it's hard to comprehend. It's hard to comprehend really difficult things when you're young. And sometimes our minds, even if it's something, you know, I'm like really bad abuses and stuff, I don't necessarily mean something like that. Although, you know, I don't know exactly. But even just things that we don't necessarily, we have no framework for understanding what something is. When, you know, you see something happen, you don't really know what's going on. Like, I don't know, something that comes to mind, that is, I'm not saying this is what it is, but just something that popped into my head is something like, you know, seeing one of your parents with having an affair. Okay, or with somebody else out in public or whatever. You just happen to catch a glimpse of them with somebody else that you don't know. You know, it's not your other parent or whatever. And you don't, you know, you're young. You don't necessarily think too much of it or understand what this, you know, what this kind of insinuates. So it kind of is filed away in your brain in a place where, you know, it's not really something to go over too much or to really hold on to, a memory to really focus on. But, you know, as life goes on and things happen and come up, you know, sometimes these memories come to the forefront of our minds, and sometimes it's delivered to us through these dreams, these kinds of dreams, or, you know, things that feel like they maybe, is that a memory, or am I just like, you know, having a false memory, or, you know, it's kind of murky. And so whatever has happened, I feel that it's really, you know, kind of pulling its way out to the front of your mind. And I think that, you know, without fully just telling you, or maybe they don't even know the full story, but kind of beginning to get this person you've been talking to, who is a family friend or whatever, has kind of helped you figure out some things. And this has been difficult. And I think that I get two very distinct postures that are coming out of you, or that you are in, right? And of course, this fits because I'm reading for Taurus, so we have the bull here. You're really in your full Taurus form, and you know, just really protective, in kind of a very defensive stance, very you know, ready to kind of go, ready to be confrontational, ready to kind of handle the situation. But on the other hand, I see this boat here. And this one actually, usually recently I've been getting a lot of boats, but they've been like sailboats mostly. So this one looks like a speedboat. And this one, to me, makes me think you want to get out of there quick. You know, you have the fight or flight impulses, both of them same level of, you kind of don't know, you're vacillating between the two. And, you know, I think that this is really pretty difficult. And I empathize with you because, you know, otherwise it's all things indicate that things are going pretty well. You know, like, there wasn't a big indication of why this would come up or why this is happening. I think that it kind of is something that, I don't know, things aligned in such a way that this was going to kind of demand that it be told. Okay. And, you know, as I do in a lot of my readings, I am always going to advocate for anyone going through any kind of difficult situation to, you know, make sure you have a support system, make sure you have people to talk to. If you are privileged enough to have access to mental health care, therapy, counseling, support groups, anything like this, please, you know, take advantage of those resources, especially during these times when things start to get a little overwhelming. And, you know, it might be very helpful to have somebody who is very objective about you know, they're a third party that's just there to listen. They have no opinion about anything, but they're there to support you. Okay. So, you know, as always, I do very much advocate for using those resources. Also, if you are in North America and you, for some reason, feel like you are going into a crisis mode, there is that number 988. If you're not in North America or in the US, please, you know, find what that number is in your country, or province or whatever, and you know, have that handy. Even if you think you're never going to need it, you know, even if it's not for you, it's good to know what those numbers are. So, for the emergency mental health support, okay? Other than that, let's see what we're looking at over here. And I'm sorry that this is it's a really heavy, it's a heavy read. And so, I see on here that there's a T and an A. And I wonder if that is a name that starts with T-A or if those are initials. Okay, and that seems important. Also, I've seen that we have a 4 right here. Okay, and that also seems pretty important. So let's look for those occurring in you know, your perceivable life right now, and just trying to kind of decide, what does this look like exactly? It looks like a kind of person with a dress possibly, but it almost reminds me of Hermes, or like two little ears, like cat ears or like a teddy bear ears. And it looks like it's pointing over here. This one to me looks something like a possum. And you get this kind of phrase in my head of like playing possum, playing dead. Maybe there was some kind of game that was being played when you were young, or I see a heart. And I almost wonder if like the possum is something that's like a protective symbol for you. And for me, thinking of the possum, it's a very maternal, a very maternal night side creature. If you are, people think they're mean, but they're really not. They're very sweet, and they are marsupials. They keep their little babies in a pouch, and then the moms kind of carry a whole bunch of babies around on their back, and that's why I think of them as very maternal, because they just do a lot of work for their little ones. Yeah. I see like a lot of just kind of like battling. It just feels like, and this one is kind of this giant and the little little person kind of battling with this giant thing. Then I see something kind of riding this, it looks like the bull upside down, but it's being kind of ridden by, so maybe taming. I feel like there's just very much this vacillation between wanting to really go to war and just like, you know, go scorched earth on this situation, this person, everything involved. And then also trying to really, really, really temper your anger and get into a place of, you know, reserving any kind of reaction until you can figure out how to go forward in a way that's going to be kind of useful and productive for anyone else involved. And so I think that this is one of the more difficult readings I've had, because the implications are, they seem a little bit devastating, to be honest with you, but and I don't really have a lot of clarity about where this is going, really, but I know that it's really kind of a dark place right now. It seems really intense and static, emotionally static, and you know, my best advice is really to, you know, the only thing that I can say is that I really want you to have people who love and care about you around you. I think that probably you're not the only person going through this, since this is a family member. And just hoping that you can support each other. But, you know, I just, you know, keep your wits about you and try to, I think that you're really, you know, trying to keep yourself very tempered. And, you know, I think that's important. And I think, you know, likely if you can manage it to just not engage, especially directly with the person, you know, too much, and try to not have any big confrontations. You know, I want everybody, I want you to be safe. I want the other people in your family to be safe. You know, whatever this is, you know, when things happen in families and they just are so, they destroy the way that we know somebody, it can be just almost like somebody has died. But the anger part is so much bigger than if somebody had just died, right? Because they're not. It's just like an ultimate betrayal. So, you know, I just, I'm not seeing too much of looking, and and I think it's just, I just see the serpent, and really to me it's just about this knowledge coming to light. It's in this very emotional, watery place. And, you know, I think where the stability is going to come from this is by maintaining your routines, taking care of yourself, making sure that you're getting rest, moving your body, eating well, you know, going to work or whatever kinds of things, whatever you do during your days and evenings, continue to do those things. Try not to let this disrupt your life too much. But also, like I said, having those support people is really important. So, yeah, I wish that was like a happier reading, Taurus. I'm sorry that it wasn't. It was pretty, it feels overwhelming. I might not sound like I'm overwhelmed, but I feel like very anxious just doing this one. And so I kind of clam up a little bit, and I apologize for that. But you know, however I perceive these readings to go, you know, if it's hard or not, I am always so honored to be able to have these interactions with you and to bring these messages to you. And hopefully just a little piece of this will bring you some peace and let you know that you are heard and that you are supported, and, you know, you're not alone in anything that you're going through. And, you know, I just, I always hope for the best for everybody, and send my love and, you know, offer what I can in that way. So I'm just gonna skip my regular ending here and tell you that if you want to reach out, you can do so. There's my contact information in the description. You can leave a comment. And, you know, I will be happy to communicate with you and lend you my support. Okay? I thank you, and we will talk again in 7 days. Hopefully, you know, this reading, I really do hope that this reading was nonsense to you and that it had no no, you know, it was not one that resonated. And hopefully, you know, you can just go and watch one of your other placements, and that will fit a little bit more with what's going on with you. Okay, thank you so much, and we will talk in a few days.